the SHED method represents a system really, and the SHED method, in my view, is the foundation of that system working really effectively. And the SHED method stands for sleep, hydration, exercise and diet. And most of the people that I work with who want to get better at something need to and actually achieve it when their SHED is in great order and when the SHED is in great shape. The SHED method is the foundation. There are many other tools within the SHED method to enable people to follow the chain and make some considered better choices. So the reason we've highlighted in the title, When It Matters, is that for each person, their moments that matter are different. But when we spend time at the start of the week or at the end of the week, looking at our diaries or looking at the week ahead and thinking, actually, what 3 or 4 moments in this week really make a difference? And really, I really want to be at my best during those moments. When we can help people, and I say that to myself as well, just to sit down and recognise them, pick them out. Where are your moments that matter? And then have some preparation techniques and some ways of thinking about those moments that matter so that you can turn up for them at your best. I love the concept of being better. Many people find it much more challenging, but for me, better is about learning more, it's about thriving, it's about being more than you think that you can be. And most of the conversations that I have with people, they ultimately want to be better at something. Better at making decisions, better at saying no, better at being a better colleague, better at being a better sister, better at being a better mother, father, better at relaxing, better at eating the right things. So for me, better is very energising and allows people to get excited and realise that they can actually be better than they thought. So through the book, I'm urging the readers to work out what better means to them. And that might be a better mum, it might be a better leader, it might be a better friend, it might be better at going to bed early. It doesn't actually matter. The SHED method and the tools within it is offering a way, a practical way. I want this book to be the most useful book. So I want people to be able to use these tools to enable them to get better, whatever their better journey means to them. There's a common chain that happens for people when they're under pressure. They have a physical sensation, so that might be they feel their heart race quicker, or they go red, or they get tense. And that goes straight up to an emotional response, a feeling response, something that makes that, okay, I've got a heartbeat that's going faster, that means I must be under danger, or I've got under pressure, and so this chain of physical, a feeling, often comes out before any rational thought happens, and that can result in what I call a gut-to-gob response. And then people feel, oh, I wish I hadn't said that, or I wish I'd thought about that. So this book helps people understand that chain, and instead of being bossed by the physical and the emotional, have ways to interrupt it and make more considered choices. The principle in the book, a very simple principle, is that we have 3 brains and we have 5 energies. And when we have ways to manage our energies, we can get the best from the team of our 3 brains. I refer to them as reptile, dog and human. And the reptile and the dog brain are the ones that tend to work on urges and intuition. And our human brain is our brilliant human brain that helps us do extraordinary things like be creative, listen properly, solve problems, think things through. And we need all 3 brains. They're all really, really valuable, but often in our fast-paced life, we get bossed by the 2 animal brains. Simply in the book, the dog brain barks, wags, or cowers. And I see that in many clients that I work with, or any people that I work with, that sometimes if we don't stop, pause, make some considered choices, we'll be bossed by barking or cowering or wagging and saying yes when actually we mean no. The reptile brain is our primeval, basic, oldest part of our brain that really wants us to be well fed, well watered, well rested, and that's why SHED sits very comfortably with, if we look after our SHED, we provide the fuel needed for our reptile brain to do and look after our basic needs. And that allows then a more constructive and more calm mood energy, the domain of our dog brain, to then enable them to be calm and useful for our human brain to get on with what our human brain does best. That's becoming increasingly difficult for people. We are constantly bombarded by distractions, and choices that we have to make, even like, which coffee do we have? Which buggy do we get? Which decisions do I make in the space of 5 minutes? And we're getting bombarded with more decisions and more choices and getting increasingly bad at making them. So a lot of the work that I do is helping people pay attention to those choices that matter the most to them. So slowing down is essential if our human brain is going to be involved in any choices that we make. That's the fundamental bottom line. And because we have these competing priorities that are coming in at us all sorts of angles, it's very hard and it takes effort to slow down. So the book is really saying to people, please make some time to slow down when it really matters. Because some of the moments in our lives that really matter are being bossed by getting through them, when we wish actually that we had just spent a little bit of time to slow down, prepare ourselves and make the most of them. I think one of the most challenging concepts in the book is to focus on the positive rather than the negative. So there's a phrase in the book that we call the trophy cabinet. And how do people fill their trophy cabinets with times when they've been at their best or times when they felt they've achieved the most? We sort of are built and hardwired to focus on what's gone wrong or where we've messed up or what hasn't helped us. And what this book is trying to encourage is if we could spend some more considered time thinking and actually banking where we've done things well and where we've been our best, then that can up the energy and help us face things that are maybe slightly more challenging. If I had my way, I would ban the phrase work-life balance. I think it's unhelpful for a lot of the people that I work with. I think it's a much healthier and a better, dare I say, response to say it's my life. And my life incorporates my professional existence, and it also incorporates my family life, and it incorporates the things that I love to do. It's my life, I own it, and I have a way of, and hopefully this book will help, managing it. A performance coach, I think what I do is I take and help people get better in the areas that they would like to be better at through practice and some simple routines that they can, as the same way as I did in order to become a better dancer or to become a better teacher or to become a better musician, to help people practice the things that are going to make the biggest difference so that they can make considered choices to be better in the way they want to be better. Performance has been at the heart of my life ever since a young child, being a ballet dancer and a musician, and then going into work with schools and challenging comprehensive schools, and that was really where I learnt a lot about performance. And what really helped me understand performance better when I was working in schools was how did I manage myself, but also, interestingly, watching pupils who would come to me at the end of the day and I'd see on their report card that they'd been brilliant in one lesson and within an hour had been terrible in another lesson. So I got really intrigued as to what those leaders in those classrooms, those teachers were doing to enable children to want to learn and push themselves to be better, and thought there must be something really interesting in those ingredients to apply more generally to adults in the world. My clients convinced me ultimately because they would sort of cajole me by saying, why isn't this in a book? Or I need something to nudge me and to remind me of some of these practices when you're not there. Mostly the clients that I work with are distracted massively on a daily basis by competing priorities or need to make decisions very quickly. And so having a book where they could look back, could refer to some of the fundamental principles that I lay out in this book was something that they wanted me to do. So obviously most of the work that I do is with leaders, but the principles apply much more generally. And I know that also because some of the leaders that I work with tell me that they apply it with their children at home or with their family or with the way that they manage other things that are not work related for them. For example, I've just been working with some students before their GCSEs and just helping them to put their pencil in their mouth so that it actually makes the size of their mouths go up at the end, so that when they get into an exam situation and they feel under pressure with maybe either time or a question they can't find the way through, just putting the pencil in their mouth to help them smile, the physical impact of smiling can affect your mood and your confidence in yourself to be able to just actually push forward for a little bit longer. I think purpose energy is the one energy out of the 5 energies that can trump shed. It's the energy that helps you sit next to a loved one for night after night with no sleep. It's a beyond self-interest energy. It's when you can find a meaning that is bigger than you. And that's a very, very powerful force and a very powerful energy. And when people have ways and practices to tap into that, they find they can achieve more than they thought possible. The book offers a very simple way of thinking about how you build a useful habit. And the rhyme goes, will, skill, drill, fill, Jill, chill, still, thrill. So if you wanted to start your own business, it would be useful to, first of all, understand what your long-term goal is. So to start my own business, I'd want to know why. Why is that important to you? So that's your will. Then you'd need to think, well, what's the most useful skill I can get on with to actually go forward towards my long-term goal? So you might say, well, actually, I'm going to do a bit of research. So I want to be better at researching. So that's your skill. So then what's the drill? So that you make sure that you do that and not get distracted by something else. So the drill is I'm going to sit down for an hour a week and research. Great. Who are your Phil and Jill that's going to help you do that? That might be a mate, it could be somebody at work, it could be your mum, doesn't matter, but you need to identify a Phil and Jill because on our own we're very unreliable. And then there's actually, I know that from my teaching background, to get better at anything, it helps if it's a bit of fun. So how are you going to make this fun? So if I'm setting up my own business and I've done some research, I might want to turn it into a neat little mnemonic that I can just repeat in a fun way in the shower in the morning. The penultimate element is still, a chance to reflect and learn from what you're doing. And to do that, you pause. And then there's finally the idea of having a thrill. So most people are constantly striving to the next thing that I can achieve. And so I want this book to actually say, mark it when you've done something and give yourself a bit of a reward. So it might be, I'm going to go out for a drink with my mates, or I might just, have a glass of wine or something that actually rewards the effort. The shed method will help you be better under pressure. The shed method will help you make the most of the moments that really matter to you. The shed method will help you make better choices.